Yeah, g'day Fight View 360 fans, your old mate Big J here, and today once again we have the distinct honour and privilege of talking to the 5-time 3-division world boxing champion Susie Q Ramadan. Champ, welcome back to the channel.
Thanks for having me, mate.
You must be absolutely chomping at the bit, because it is official, August 20th, in the Melbourne Pavilion. Your good self versus, how do you pronounce the name?
Tomoko Okuda, I think.
Tomoko Okuda, right?
Yep.
Will be battling it out for supremacy, and after a long layoff. So, champ, you must be chomping at the bit to finally get back in the ring after 2.5 years.
Yeah, of course. I'm pretty excited about it. It's with all the COVID lockdowns and all that, and all those things happening, and finally, got a fight booked in, and it's not long now, so can't wait to get in there.
Yeah, obviously, and your opponent is actually a former world champion, a WBO Superfly 115-pound former world champion. So you're going up against someone who's had not that much of a layoff and quite a credible opponent, as opposed to having what many would say would probably be an easy fight against a lesser opponent. So kudos to you, champ. You're certainly showing the way.
Well, it's boxing. I mean, look, any fight could be a risk, and I think I mentioned to you before, we tried a few other girls, they declined to fight me, so it's like, well, I was rated pretty high on the IBF, and due to the inactivity, which obviously it's out of my hands, but and so we just looked up who's in the top 10 of the IBF, and she was number 5, and didn't know nothing about it, no footage, no nothing, and we thought, well, give her a crack, and and she accepted the fight, which was great, and so I mean, at the end of the day, if I want to fight for a world title, I've got to do things the right way and fight someone who's rated, and get back in the ratings again, and so that's how I roll.
Obviously. So do you know when Okuda is actually going to be touching down in Australia? The fight's only less than 2 weeks away. It must be within the next week or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, I don't know those sides of things, so that's all the promoters' work and stuff like that, so just focus on my training and stuff.
Yep. So this fight will get you back into the ratings of the IBF 115. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal. You're not looking at any other divisions. You're pretty solid, because most of the conversations we've had, you've always been pretty solid that you're pretty happy to be at 115, and that's where you're going to stay.
I mean, look, my goal was to fight for a world title with super flyweight. So I got this opportunity to fight this girl and get past that, and then I'll see what happens after that.
Because it would be great if you could get another fight before year's end, even if not at the champion, but at someone else, to get that opportunity possibly in 2023. Because at the moment, champ, as you well know, things have never been looking better for Australian boxing. We're killing it at the moment. So
it's really good.
It is. I mean, I'm trying to look through the history books and trying to find a year where Australian boxing has achieved more in a 12-month period, and it's hard to find it. I mean, 85 was a fantastic year. 09 was good, but this year, considering what Ebanie's achieved, what Shanika's achieved, what Jai's achieved, George had the biggest, one of the biggest fights, and he'll come back again in October.
You mean it's in Australian fighters or actual Australia itself?
No, actual Australian fighters.
Oh, yeah.
So, Australian boxing has really never looked... I mean, what we've achieved this year is phenomenal. And we've still got, 4.5 months left.
Yeah, it's been booming, that's for sure, and it's only just getting better. Yeah, big fights too, and which has been good.
Yeah, there's been some massive fights. I mean, Jai Apataya pulling off easily the upset of the year, defeating Maris Breedis, which none of us thought was going to happen. I said it on record, I thought, if he lasts 6 rounds, he'll be doing well, and he beats him convincingly with a broken jaw in 2 places. So Jai Apataya is absolutely shot to the top of the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, no, he's done extremely well.
Yeah, extremely well, and there's more things to come. So with we'll talk about George and Haney. What do you think George needs to do to go after, to defeat Haney? And do you think he can do it?
Haney is very slick, isn't he?
Ridiculously slick.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's obviously been quiet, so it's saying that he's obviously concentrating more on, his training and stuff like that, and maybe has a better game plan, game plan from A to Z or something. But yeah, it's just a matter of how the team sort of look back at their fight and see where they've gone wrong and work out ways of how to beat him and work on a good plan. And obviously just sort of hibernate and focus on the training and what you got to do and all those sorts of things, because you can get easily distracted by all the hype and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure they're all working behind the scenes now to come up with something and how to beat him, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, the day after yourself that you return to the ring, we've got Usyk Joshua 2. How do you see that one going? A lot of people are thinking... I'm thinking Usyk might get him again, because I saw a video of him the other day, and he looks like he's put on 15 pound. He looks huge.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was pretty fast and sharp in the last fight, so don't know if that could slow him down, but... well, it's in Saudi, so they could be citing... Anthony Joshua there, but I see, Usyk's a really good fighter, but Anthony Joshua also has that. He has that thing where you might lose the first time, but the rematch he tends to come back better.
Yep.
So
similar to Ruiz.
Yeah. So I don't know. Should be a good fight though. Interesting.
Yeah, it is, and women's boxing's looking good. We've got Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Bumgardner. Any thoughts on those two fights?
Yeah, great big fights. Great for women's boxing, definitely.
Do you see a winner between Shields and Marshall?
Look, both girls are great, unless Khalifa Shields does a Ann Wolf job. That one of those. I don't know if you've seen it, the best KO. She does one of those ones. She might get lucky, but I just think Savannah Marshall might get the win on that one. And the other two that you mentioned, that's a good fight actually. So I don't know about that one.
So back onto yourself. If you were, successful in the upcoming fight against Okuda, would you like to fight again before year's end, or were you gonna see what opportunities are available to you, or do you have a plan in place to go? Yep, I've been out for a bit, so want to get straight back in as soon as possible.
There's no if there, is there? It's a win, I win. And, I don't believe in the word if anyway, but yeah, definitely. Like after this fight, I definitely want to get another fight by the end of the year for sure. I mean, I'd fight every week if I could. And I've mentioned to you before, I got this massive opportunity. It's obviously outside of boxing. At the same time as this boxing fight, and people would they'd say to me, "Jeez, you're nuts," choose the other opportunity instead. But I chose boxing obviously because it's what I love, and I want to do as much as I can while I can. I suppose the other opportunity could just sort of wait. So obviously there's a lot of hunger there. So that's telling you, definitely want to fight straight after that. So. It's just a matter of one step at a time, get this one out of the way, and we'll see what happens. Yeah,
obviously, because it'd be great if you could fight before Christmas or even the week before New Year's. I mean, that would be fantastic. So to get you out there and going again.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Now, obviously, we've got the big thing coming up next year with Tim Tszyu versus Charlo. We all know my thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on Tszyu versus Charlo?
It's a hard fight for him, but he's really hungry, Tim. So don't know. I think it's going to be a hard test. It's going to be a good test for Tim Tszyu. I don't know if it might be a bit too early for him, but look, like I said, he's pretty hungry and he's probably doing all the work, and you never know. But yeah, he's got a hard task ahead of him, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. So. That's another fight to look forward to. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
So many good ones, eh?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it can be done because Charlo has been beaten previously. Castano beat him in the first fight. There's no way that was a draw. That was garbage. Castano won that first fight. Tony Harrison, maybe a gift decision, but Charlo certainly can be beat. Whether or not Tim Tszyu can do it, obviously he has to prove that in the ring. I mean, I've given him, 70-30 in the favour of Charlo. If he can do it, great, but I don't see it happening. But then again, I didn't give Jai Opetaia much of a chance. Look what happened there. So,
not to mention to Kambosos as well. I don't think many people sort of seen him beating Lopez, and he did. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, we did multiple videos on that, and I think at best I gave him 55. By the time of the fight, it was 55-45, but I still had Lopez getting the win. So anything can and does happen in the world of boxing. It's just what happens on the night. So
best you don't gamble on any of the boxing fights, then, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Because I've said that if Charlo doesn't take this seriously, Tim Tszyu could capitalise. So, but a fully focused, 100% switched on Charlo, Tim's in for a bad night. And I've said that many, many times. But again, what happens in the ring happens in the ring. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, this year's been phenomenal. Who do you think's impressed you the most over the since January, the beginning of the year? Because, now that COVID's, past, or hopefully getting past us to where it's, it's just a everyday part of life. Who do you think since the beginning of the year has impressed you the most in Australian boxing?
Definitely George Kambosos. That one. And in women, I think, for me, Taylor Robinson, to be honest. I know she's still early days for her, but she's impressed me. I like her skills. I like her style. It's not about who's won this and who's won that. And I think for me, it's that I like the more skillful sort of fighters and stuff like that. So that's what I look at. So I think they're that, who else is there?
Jai Opetaia's got to be up there. Easy.
Yeah, him too. Yeah, he done, and he boxed well, and he looks so good too. Yeah.
He did. He took control of that fight from the get-go and just pretty much controlled it all the way up until that last round. I mean, I'd have to say if that fight went extra 30 seconds, I think Jai would have been in trouble because Breas was coming for him. And I think time was on his side there. But anyway, still, to win a world title with a broken jaw in two places.
Haney actually impressed me as well, that last fight.
Yeah. I tell you who has turned his career around, surprisingly, Lucas Brown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Last time we were talking about him, he was saying that he was the GOAT of Australian heavyweight boxing, and everyone's like, okay. Gets knocked out by Paul Gallen, then goes and knocks out Django Opalou, and then goes and knocks out Junior Farr in less than a round. So I think that's you got to give credit where it's due. That was ridiculous what he did there. So
yeah, you got to give credit to Paul Gallen too, eh?
Oh, exactly.
Ex-rugby player, so he done all right.
Oh yeah. And I think Judson Hodges is gunning him for a fight now, so that should be interesting. And on other news, I heard that Sonny Bill's going after Mark Hunt. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let him keep on rolling. The more fighters, in Australia, the better it is. The more of them get out there.
Definitely. Just on a bit of a side note, I don't want to throw a curveball question at you, but I just like to think, if you're even paying attention, which I seriously doubt you would be, what's your thoughts on this Jake Paul facade, this circus that Jake Paul's creating? If you're even paying attention to him.
I don't know. I don't really get into all that sort of political or circus stuff or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I feel that he's genuine about the boxing, like he wants to learn. But I don't know. I mean, if there's any calling out Canelo or something, obviously it's a publicity stunt's got to be. I mean,
Canelo was murdering.
He's ready for Canelo. Well, that's what I mean. So, each to their own. I mean, if it's working for them, and I don't get involved in those sorts of things. So, I don't know. I just love my boxing, you know what I mean? People who are there for boxing and, the skills and stuff like that, you know.
This country's had people turn to boxing for the last 25 years. So what the Americans are doing and all this YouTube stuff and all these celebrities going in the boxing ring, we've been doing it for 2 decades. So it's nothing, you know, what...
it's not new, no.
It's not new to this country. Like when Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr., Jeff Fenech fought Azuma Nelson back in 2008. So all these older fighters who are well past their, well retired, having another crack, Australia did that, how long ago was 2008? 14 years ago. So these novelty things are nothing new to this country. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've seen it, you know, we've seen enough of it, you know, we've seen a lot of it. I mean, so
I think it's actually a bit of a positive now that, you know, Gallen and Sonny Bill and all these other blokes are all pushing or actually in their 40s. It's actually a positive because now it's, you know, all these guys are going home, retiring. There's nothing left but the pure boxers now because we don't really need the football players anymore because we've got so many world champions and people fighting for world titles. The days of watching the football players punch on are probably starting to come to an end, and that's probably a good thing for pure boxers because that means we bring the attention back on you guys. So
I think with the football players, it's probably more fun watching them punch on in the field anyway when they're playing football. I mean.
Well, they're not allowed to anymore. They'll get 6 weeks suspension for throwing a punch. So I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a football player actually engage in it. Oh, there was a bit of a scuffle in Origin. I can't remember what game it was, but dang Gagai threw 3 punches and missed the lot. So
yeah. Yeah, but it's good that they're investing in the fighters a lot more now, so, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And, you know, Paul Gallen always said that his main idea was, A, make money and B, promote the blokes on the undercard, and he's done that extremely well. Now those guys are coming into their own, you know, they can headline their own cards. Hopefully the days of the old footballer coming into boxing are starting to curve off. Because
he should have thrown some money at the fighters like Jake Paul did to his fighters like Amanda Serrano and that. Then they would have been doing good for the undercards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
throw some money in their pocket.
Throw some money in their pocket. Yeah. So on a serious note, champ, how much longer do you think you're gonna go? Because I was actually scared there you're going to pull the pin there at one point. I was like, oh God, you can't go out like that. You've got to have at least. But how much longer do you think you'll go?
So, you know, with boxing, right, it's just like this question gets asked even like at the start of your career. It's like, oh, how long do you think you want to box for? Or how long, you know what I mean? But it's something you just can't, obviously boxing's not forever, and obviously there's life after boxing and outside of boxing and stuff like that. So, I mean, and the way I've been schooled and from the start it's just sort of been taking one step at a time, taking each fight as it comes, you know. So I don't really sit there. I'm no fortune teller. I can't really say what's going to happen and all that. So, you know, you just got to go with the flow and let the universe take care of it, I guess. Pretty sure you know, when it's time to sort of to give it up, I guess, the universe will tell me.
So there was no like, if I get to a certain age or if I have so many losses or I just get sick of it. I suppose you just got to wait till you get sick of it, aren't you? That's what most boxers do.
Oh, man, you got fighters with so many losses and they're still fighting in there, which they shouldn't be. No. But, I mean, who am I to say that they should or shouldn't anyway? But, like, I mean, it's just, I think, it's up to the individual. I think with boxing, it depends on how you've gone through your career, you know, because let's just, like, I've never been badly hurt or knocked out, you know, and that's talking about sparring as well as fights, and I've had no injuries apart from like a black eye or you know, a fat nose or whatever, right? But you know, I think, you know, it's things like that with boxing. I think once you start getting so many injuries and you can't anymore, or you kind of get sick of it, you don't have that love, you don't have that hunger. So it depends, you know. And right now I can't really say because I'm still hungry, you know, because I love it so much. I'm just so passionate about the sport. Like, I don't need to fight, and I don't have it. I don't need to prove anything. You know, pretty much I've already proven, you know, obviously through my resume of boxing, but it's just something I love. Or maybe until I find something else that I love, I don't know. But, but yeah, I just love it, and, you know, I'm still there's nothing like I have no injuries, nothing wrong with me. My reflexes are still good, so why not keep going until I can't no more? Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, hopefully you don't get injured. Speaking from, I mean, you know as well as anyone, I'm an old beat-up soldier. Yeah, those injuries, they really do take it out of you. So hopefully you don't get injured. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Once you've had surgery or something, it's never the same.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, there's always life outside of, after boxing. So these are things you've got to think about as well. So if you have had, major injuries and stuff like that, well, these should be signs as well that, this could affect you later down, in life as well. So, so I know what you mean. I can't say I feel your pain, but...
Trust me, it's not pain, it's mobility issues that are the thing for me. Like, I can't move like I used to 5 years ago before I got hurt. That's the real kicker for me.
Yeah, See, you guys aren't into the whole stretching and yoga and that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing that DDP yoga. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Like the old pro wrestler, his program works a treat apparently. So. Any kind of yogas and all that sort of stuff, Pilates and all. But yeah, they're really good. They definitely are. Yeah, I have to because otherwise I won't be able to move. I'll just get too stiff. So. Yeah, no.
Then you might have to move to Queensland for warmer weather then too. That doesn't help. No, warmer weather, it's always cold.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me of that. So, divide my way being Queensland right now. But anyway, so look, champ, I mean, I really am looking forward to seeing you fight because it's the one thing that I haven't done yet in this illustrious Fight View 60 career that I've had of mine is that in less than 2 weeks I'll be able to see you fight. I'll be there hopefully ringside or somewhere where I'm noticed, somewhere in the background, hopefully, cheering you on, and I consider it a great privilege. So thank you very much, champ. August 20th is the date. Melbourne Pavilion is the arena. What's the kickoff time? 7 o'clock?
Doors open at 6:30, I think.
Doors open at 6:30. And is there any media on this? Is it going to be broadcast in any way, shape or form? Is there any links or anything that we can...
there'll be a live stream and also Foxtel, but not live Foxtel, but you'll speak to Brian Amachuto anyway for your pass, so he'll have the details. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking forward to that because actually... we actually want to get that live stream, put it on the channel, and do our little bit. So that'd be great. T Street is chomping at the bit to get to this, so he can actually do what we normally do with all the other broadcasts that we do, give our evaluations and all after the fight. So yeah. I look forward to seeing you then, champ. If I don't see you beforehand. Thank you very much for joining us on the channel again. It's always been a great pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to seeing Susie Ramadan get another win on August 20th at the Melbourne Pavilion. This has been the old mate Big J for Fight View 360. Please like and subscribe to the video.